There's the watch world everyone sees, and there's the circle that never needs a display case. In 2025, the rarest pieces move through private calls, sealed envelopes, and relationships built over years. This isn't about billboards. It's 10 watches insiders quietly pursue, where access and understanding matter more than price. Let's step inside. Jacob & Company Billionaire. The Jacob & Company Billionaire is excess executed with discipline. Case and bracelet are paved in roughly 260 carats of emerald-cut diamonds, hand-matched, so the facets align like tiles on a single plane. One stone out of tolerance would break the illusion. Hundreds in harmony turn the watch into a sheet of white fire. Beneath that radiance lives the JCAM09, a skeletonized tourbillon built from 167 components, the mechanical spine that keeps time while the piece reads as sculpture. Jacob Arabeau designed his reputation around clients who wanted something louder than the usual grails, yet finished at the same exacting level. This watch is precisely that, a wrist-sized declaration that still survives a loop. It is not subtle and never pretends to be, but it is controlled, the stones calibrated for size, colour and clarity so the visual flow never stutters. That is why billionaires reach for it when they want a room to register instantly without a word. You don't wear the billionaire so much as direct it, and in 2025 it remains the definitive watch for people who can buy anything and choose to be unmistakable. Jaeger-LeCoultre 101 Manchette. Jaeger-LeCoultre's 101. Manchette turns the smallest mechanical caliber on Earth into high jewellery with a heartbeat. The movement caliber 101 is assembled under a microscope. Some parts are thinner than a human hair, and the complete engine weighs less than a paperclip. It hides inside a white gold diamond-set cuff whose links shimmer like liquid light, with a tiny dial tucked discreetly among them. Most observers see a bracelet. The initiated see a living mechanism breathing inside the diamonds. The lineage is sovereign. Queen Elizabeth II wore a 101 at her 1953 coronation. So the modern manchette doesn't just sparkle, it carries precedence. In 2025, these are not stocked. They are bestowed. The gem setting is exhaustive, the tolerance is brutal, and the micro-mechanical assembly pushes watchmakers to the limit of what fingers can do. Billionaires prize it because it collapses a false choice, jewellery or watch. The manchette is both at once, a proof of capability object that doesn't shout and never needs to. When it appears, it signals access to a corner of horology so specialised that even insiders rarely see it up close. Breguet Marine Equation, Marchante 5887. Breguet bridges history and astronomy in the Marine Equation Marchante 5887. Civil time is what the world runs on. True solar time is what the sun actually keeps. This watch shows both at once. A golden cam, shaped like the sun's figure 8 analemma, drives a continuously advancing equation hand, so the wearer sees how far human clocks drift from the sky's rhythm on that day. Around the dial, a perpetual calendar tracks date, day, month, and leap year with a memory measured in decades. At 5 o'clock, a tourbillon rotates in full view, a nod to Abraham Louis Breguet's invention that still defines the brand's heartbeat. Guilloche waves sweep the plate, and maritime motifs sculpt the bridges. The whole composition reads like a marine chronometer translated to the wrist. For billionaires, the appeal isn't flash, it's knowledge. Anyone can strap diamonds to a case. Very few can explain why the sun's time differs from our time, and show it, live, on a dial. The 5887 is exactly that. Intellectual prestige disguised as elegance. The kind of piece that rarely leaves vaults and changes hands through conversations, not counters. Patek Philippe Grandmaster, chime 6300. The Grandmaster chime Is Patek Philippe at maximum voltage? 20 complications live inside a reversible case with 2 complete dials, a salmon-toned face with guilloche, and an ebony side organised around 4 sub-registers. Beyond minute repeater and grande and petite sonnerie, the watch debuts an acoustic alarm that chimes the exact set time on tuned gongs, a world first for a chiming wristwatch. Perpetual calendar indications and moon phases are woven into the architecture, so nothing feels crowded, and the switchable case turns the entire experience into a mechanical duet. The movement reportedly consumed 100,000 hours of development, prototyping and finishing, which is why the 6300A in stainless steel, created for Only Watch 2019, shattered records around $31 million. Steel at this level is rarer than gold because Patek reserves it for the most collectible references. That singularity matters. In 2025, the Grandmaster chime remains the clearest signal that Patek can still surprise the world's most jaded collectors. It isn't about flex, it's about hearing time itself performed on demand. MB&F Legacy Machine Sequential EVO MB&F, the collaborative lab of Maximilian Buser and friends, specialises in questions no one else asks. The Legacy Machine Sequential EVO asks 2 at once. Can a wristwatch time separate events independently, and can it also run them together? The answer is a dual chronograph mechanism with a linked pusher system that enables independent cumulative and sequential timing modes. Under a high-domed sapphire, twin balances float on arched bridges like suspended planets, while mirrored registers let your eyes read both timers without confusion. The case is built for reality, light, impact-conscious, and curved to sit securely, because MB&F expects owners to actually use what they own. For the ultra-wealthy who have long since collected the usual trophies, the Sequential EVO is irresistible. It is not a reissue, not a tribute, not nostalgia. It's a new way to think about elapsed time on the wrist, delivered with the bravado and finishing that MB&F brings to every what-if experiment. In private rooms, this is the watch that turns a casual chat into a lesson plan. Grönefeld, 1941. Remontoire. The Grönefeld, 1941. Remontoire shows why understatement is a power move. Its signature is a remontoire d'égalité, a constant force mechanism that recharges at set intervals to feed the escapement with uniform torque. Practically, that keeps the balance amplitude steady as the mainspring relaxes. Aesthetically, it gives the seconds a composed, almost metronomic calm. The 39.5mm case is sculpted for comfort, with stepped lugs and soft transitions that vanish under a cuff. Dials range from frosted finishes to tasteful fume tones. Every bevel and interior angle reflects hours of handwork from Bart and Tim Grönefeld, the horological brothers, whose name collectors say with genuine affection. Annual production is tiny. Most pieces are reserved well before the public catches a glimpse, and they tend to move between prominent collections rather than across counters. In a world of instantly recognisable shapes, the 1941 Remontoire is the opposite. A cipher that reveals its value only to people who have learned how to look. That is precisely why billionaires seek it out. It isn't about being seen, it's about owning balance. A. Lange and Söhne triple split. The A. Lange and Söhne triple split takes a split-seconds chronograph, a rattrapante, and extends its logic until it becomes singular. Most rattrapantes let you measure 2 intervals to the second. The triple split adds split minutes and split hours, so you can compare long events without losing detail. Think marathon versus marathon, or parallel rally stages across an hour, all tracked on the same wrist. The dial keeps order with disciplined typography and restrained colour cues. The precious metal case carries Saxon gravitas without excess. Flip the watch, and the movement becomes theatre. German silver plates, hand-engraved balance cocks, black-polished steel, and a forest of levers and column wheels choreographed so nothing collides, and everything resets as it should. Production is naturally low, allocations deliberate, and appearances in the wild rare. For owners who already have every classic chronograph lineage represented, the triple split is the end of the line. Proof that refinement and extremity can coexist when a brand refuses to choose between them. The Bethune DB28XP Starry Sky. The Bethune's DB28XP Starry Sky turns a private memory into a permanent dial. The case is ultra-thin titanium, feather-light yet rigid, so it disappears until polished surfaces catch light. Proprietary spring-loaded lugs articulate to fit different wrists, making the watch feel commissioned even if it wasn't. The dial begins as flame-blued titanium, worked to a deep, even midnight. Then tiny white gold pins are set by hand to map a constellation the owner chooses. The sky on a birthday, an anniversary, a moment only two people remember. On the reverse, de Bethune's futuristic balance and delta bridge architecture beat with calm precision, bringing shock resistance, thermal stability, and decoration together into a single, coherent language. This is high horology that doesn't announce wealth. It whispers significance. That is why these pieces travel through back channels and introductions rather than listings. If you see one, you won't need a logo. You will understand immediately that the knight on that dial belongs to someone, even if you never learn who. Hublot MP05 LaFerrari Sapphire. The Hublot MP05 LaFerrari Sapphire treats transparency as a complication. Its case is machined from a single block of sapphire crystal, a material that exposes every line and leaves nowhere to hide. Down the centre runs a vertical tourbillon. Along its sides, a stack of mainspring barrels rises like pistons, delivering an extraordinary power reserve of about 50 days. Time is read on rotating drums, hours and minutes on parallel cylinders, while a separate indicator shows the remaining fuel of that monumental reserve. Winding is an event, engineered to charge the system without stress. This is not a round, thin, discrete object. It is a mechanical supercar for the wrist, allocated directly from private rooms to collectors who treat speed, industrial design, and audacity as a single aesthetic. In 2025, volumes are microscopic and boutique shelves never see them. If you already live in a world where owning a hypercar is normal, the MP05 is the watch that matches the rest of your garage. Not practical, but perfectly consistent with the point of having it. Seiko Credor Eichi 2. The Seiko Credor Eichi 2 is the quietest entry on this list, and, for many connoisseurs, the most persuasive. At first glance, it's three hands on a white porcelain dial. Look closer, and nothing is generic. The dial is hand-painted at a Noritake-linked studio. Even the Credor script is brushed by a single artisan. Heat-blued hands track hours and minutes while the seconds hand glides continuously. The signature of spring drive, which regulates a mechanical train with a quartz reference for uncanny smoothness. Beneath, the micro artist studio assembles and finishes the movement to a standard that invites comparison with the best of Switzerland. Mirror-bright anglage on every edge, polished countersinks, perfectly aligned screws and jewels, and a sense that no surface escapes intention. Allocations are quiet and finite. A buyer list builds over years, and pieces often move straight from bench to vault. Billionaires value it because it redefines luxury as restraint. In a world that rewards volume, the Eichi 2 rewards stillness and makes it clear that perfection doesn't need to speak up to be heard. 10 watches, 10 exact answers to why the very top of watchmaking still matters in a noisy year. Each solves a different problem: material control, micromechanical mastery, solar truth, musical timekeeping, twin timers, constant force, extended retropant, personal skies, transparent engines, porcelain serenity. In 2025, billionaires aren't buying logos. They're collecting ideas turned into mechanisms and guarded by access. If one of these slips from a cuff near you, you won't need a name to recognize it. The intent will be obvious.